The use of forced labor in Nazi concentration camps was a central component of their merciless regime. From the moment the camps were established, the inmates were subjected to unimaginable horrors, both physically and mentally. The aim was to exploit their labor to fuel the war efforts and further the Nazi agenda. This article shines a light on this abhorrent practice, serving as a reminder of the depths humanity can sink to. The forced laborers in Nazi concentration camps were subjected to extreme conditions that tested the limits of human endurance. They were forced to work long hours, often performing back-breaking physical tasks. Inadequate food and medical care led to rampant malnutrition and disease. The prisoners endured constant abuse and mistreatment at the hands of their captors. Their lives were a continuum of suffering, with no respite or escape in sight. The variety of work assigned in the camps was extensive, covering a range of industries and sectors. Some inmates were assigned to back-breaking manual labor, such as building infrastructure, digging trenches, or loading heavy machinery. Others toiled in factories producing war materials such as weapons and ammunition. The tasks were often monotonous, grueling, and dangerous. The relentless demand for productivity left the workers physically and mentally drained. The laborers in concentration camps faced dire consequences whenever they failed to meet their assigned quotas. Inmates who couldn't keep up with the brutal pace were subjected to harsh punishments, including beatings, torture, and solitary confinement. These punishments were not only physically agonizing, but also aimed at breaking the spirit and will of the prisoners. The atmosphere of fear and desperation permeated the camps, leaving the inmates in a perpetual state of terror. The use of forced labor also allowed the Nazi regime to dehumanize and degrade the inmates further. They were stripped of their identities and reduced to mere numbers or labels, reinforcing the notion that they were expendable objects rather than human beings. This dehumanization facilitated the psychological conditioning necessary to perpetuate the atrocities committed within the camps. The laborers' living conditions were indescribably harsh. Cramped and unsanitary barracks became their meager shelters, offering minimal protection from the elements. The constant lack of hygiene led to rampant diseases, which further weakened the already malnourished prisoners. The stench of desperation and despair hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of their dire circumstances. Among the countless victims of the forced labor system were innocent civilians, political dissidents, religious minorities, and members of marginalized communities. People from all walks of life fell prey to the Nazi regime's brutal policies of persecution. The labor camp served as a sinister tool to eliminate those deemed undesirable in the eyes of the Nazi ideology, perpetuating a society based on hate and prejudice. The forced labor system within the concentration camps exemplified the evil depths humanity can sink to. It stands as a horrifying testament to the cruelty and dehumanization that occurs when prejudice and hatred fuel a regime. Remembering and acknowledging these dark chapters of history is vital to ensure they are never repeated. Honoring the memory of the victims and preserving the importance of compassion and empathy in our society.